Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing my April wrap-up video. April is obviously a very strange month with everything going on, but I did fortunately have a lot of time for reading, so I did read quite a few books in April. There's obviously no new New York City favorites because everything here is still shut down at the time of filming, and I would imagine it's going to be for a while longer. It is pretty amazing that I got as much reading done as I did because Animal Crossing came out, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I definitely played a lot of Animal Crossing this past month. So I read a total of 12 books this month, and I also read 8 volumes of manga. So getting into it, the first book that I read is Night of the Dragon by Julie Kagawa. This is the third and final book in the Shadow of the Fox series, and I already reviewed this one on my channel. Anything that I've already reviewed for you will be linked down below. This year I've been wrapping all of my books up in increments of 5 in recent reads videos, so that way I can go a little bit more in depth about my thoughts. Oh, I don't know if I've posted it, but I have. Either way, it'll be linked down below if I have. Then I read Find Me Their Bones by Sarah Wolf. This is the second book in the Bring Me Their Hearts trilogy. Then I read an ARC copy of Chasing Lucky by Jen Bennett. And I also read an ARC copy of In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. I filmed my review for both of these, and this one I definitely already posted, but I forgot to hold on to the ARCs until I filmed my wrap-up, so I don't have them anymore. Then I read Shadow of the Batgirl by Sarah Kuhn, Beautiful Darkness by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. Then I binge read volumes 2 through 9 of Everyone's Getting Married by Izumi Miyazono, Time of Our Lives by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broca, Reborn Yesterday by Tessa Bailey, Harley Quinn Breaking Glass by Mariko Tamaki, Twilight of the Elves by Zach Lauren Clark and Nick Eliopoulos, Alana the First Adventure by Tamora Pierce, and finally, The Way of Kings by Brendan Sanderson. So I didn't actually calculate it, but considering that The Way of Kings is over 1,000 pages, I read quite a bit over these 12 books. So my favorite of the month, without a doubt, was definitely Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I really and truly loved this book. I had already read, I was wrong, I thought that I was about halfway through it, but I was incorrect. I was really only 40% of the way through it, which makes a difference when you're talking about a 1,000-page book. So I read the remaining 60% this month, and I thankfully had taken notes and made a long outline of the first 40% of the book in an email to myself. So I reread that whole breakdown before I started reading the rest of the book, and it was very easy to pick up from where I left off, and I really loved it. I had an interesting time reading this because going into it, I knew that there were 3 main characters, and I really thought that Shallan was going to be my favorite character, but I found myself really loving Kaladin's perspective, and that was true for the majority of the book, but then toward the end I found myself liking Shallan's perspective a lot more, and I was honestly the least interested in Dalinar, but then again at the end he really kind of gripped me, and I'm so excited to read the next books. I cannot wait to see what's gonna happen. I feel like there was so much groundwork that was laid in this book, but it was necessary. Now I feel like the world just has the opportunity to expand and expand and expand, and oh my god, it was incredible. There was so much action in here. A lot of it is very heavily war-based, which isn't something that I normally enjoy, but I really cared about Kaladin and Syl. I was just really rooting for Kaladin and his bridgemen and for them to overcome everything that they're put through in this book. So it was a really enjoyable read. I was fascinated by the end of the book. As soon as I finished reading it, I was pretty much I want to read this again already. I know that I have other books in the series to read, but I feel like I already want to reread this one. And I was even telling Andrew as I was getting toward the end, I was like, I think I have a new book to add to my favorites of all time list, which is wild because that doesn't happen very often. There are definitely a lot of books that I love, but to find a new forever favorite is a big deal. So glad that I finally finished this one, and I decided that I'm going to be alternating going forward. So in May, I'm going to be reading the next Wheel of Time book, The Dragon Reborn, and then in June, I'm going to pick up Words of Radiance, which is the second Stormlight Archive book. So I'll be like alternating Wheel of Time and Stormlight, and that way I'll be caught up for Rhythm of War. Then for least favorite book of the month, I would have to pick In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. I didn't hate it or dislike it by any means, but I read a lot of really great books this month, and of the ones that I read, it was for sure my least favorite. I did do a full review on this one in a recent reads video already, so if you want to hear more of my thoughts, you can watch that video. Just some highlights. There was a particular topic in this book that was really difficult for me to read personally, and definitely made this book a little bit tougher for me to enjoy. I thought it was a really interesting concept. I do think that it was well executed, but I didn't like reading that one topic that was addressed, and then I also was very unsatisfied by the ending. I read a lot of series books this month, as you can tell, so for best series starter, I'm sure it's gonna be no surprise that I would obviously say Way of Kings again for this answer, and I will refrain from continuing to gush about it right now. For best continuing series, I would have to say that would be the Bring Me Their Hearts series by Sarah Wolfe. This is the second book, Find Me Their Bones. I really enjoyed this one. It's definitely a bit different than the first book. It's a lot lighter on the romance than the first book was, but I'm so interested in this world and these characters, and I just really, really, really love our main character, Zara. She's just like delightful. She's such an interesting perspective to read from. She's such like a dynamic character. Love this series so much. I'm so excited for the third book. And then best series ender would be Night of the Dragon by Julie Kagawa. This book was absolutely incredible. It was non-stop action, and there was just so much payoff in this book from start to finish. I loved every single situation that our characters found themselves in. There were really high stakes. There were some really difficult choices that had to be made, and I really, really and truly just loved the resolution to this one. So this is for sure a favorite series for me. Best romance would be Chasing Lucky by Jen Bennett. This one I did already review as well, but I really loved the romance between the two main characters. Their banter was awesome, and it was just delightful to read. It was a nice break from all of the fantasy that I've been reading, and I really enjoyed being in the setting, particularly because it's in like a coastal town, which I really enjoy. And the main character is helping run her family's bookstore, so it just had a whole lot of things going for it, and I loved it. Then best graphic novel or manga of the month. I loved Shadow of the Batgirl by Sarah Kuhn. I did review this one already as well, but I just thought everything about it was brilliant. I really liked the themes. I really liked the artwork. I really liked the colorists' choices within here. I really liked the story. I loved the character cameos. Like, everything about this just did it for me. It was so great. And I'm so excited because, unrelated to this book, but it was just announced that Sarah Kuhn is writing a Dr. Aphra novel in the Star Wars universe, and I'm so excited to read more of her work because I loved this so much. I actually have another category, but I realized that I haven't actually wrapped up the Everyone's Getting Married series in any videos. I tend to wrap up every 5 books that I read, but I don't really want to wrap up single volumes of manga because there's only so much story that you get in a single volume. I mean, I love manga. I'm not saying that it's less entertaining or anything by any means because you get a shorter piece of the story. I still love it. I kind of just read it like, for me, I'm trying to read things that are on my shelves that are, especially things that are completed. Overall, I enjoyed this series, but it definitely wasn't a favorite for me. I really liked volumes 7, 8, and 9 in the series, but otherwise volumes 1 I really enjoyed, and then 2 through 6 I was like, this is fine, but it's not amazing. But then 7, 8, and 9 I loved. Follows a girl who really wants to get married, and her boyfriend breaks up with her, and she ends up meeting this other guy who is a news anchor, and he does not want to get married at all, and the two of them end up falling for each other, and just watching their relationship progress over the course of the series was really enjoyable. There are suddenly some children chanting outside my window, so I do hope that you can't hear that. But yeah, these were all pretty much 3 to 3.5 star reads for me, with the exception of 7, 8, and 9, which were 4 stars. Moving on, I thought it would be fun to include a new category and tell you about new releases in the coming month that I'm really hyped for. So for this month, I'll be talking about releases coming out in May, things that maybe I have already pre-ordered, and in this case I have. The first one being Beach Read by Emily Henry. I've read nothing but positive reviews for this book so far, and sounds like it's going to be really good. You know what? I filmed a most anticipated adult releases for the year video, and then I never got around to posting it, but I would have talked about it in that video had I edited it. So this one follows a romance author and a literary fiction author, and they are kind of rivals, but they end up both having a case of writer's block, and they go on a vacation and they end up being next door neighbors. So they challenge each other for the romance writer to write a literary fiction novel and for the literary fiction author to write a romance novel, and then the two of them also end up becoming romantically involved. And I've just heard excellent things. It sounds super cute, and I have this one pre-ordered. I'm excited to read it. And the other one that I'm really looking forward to is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I don't think any explanation is needed for this one. I enjoyed the Hunger Games series, but I don't love it as much as a lot of other people seem to. But I'm still really curious about the prequel book, and I personally really want to read it. I'm very much looking forward to when that arrives. And then moving on, so Broadway is obviously still dark. All shows at this point have been canceled through June 12th. So Andrew and I were supposed to see Birthday Candles with Deborah Messing this month. I think there's hope that that one might be pushed back and maybe run during the fall season, and if that's the case, I'll definitely try to get tickets for it then. Then movies. So Andrew and I decided to rewatch all of the films within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we started that this month, and we've watched quite a few of them already. Starting with Iron Man, this is the first movie, like the movie that kicked everything off. Obviously, I'm not going to go too in depth about these because like everyone has seen these a bajillion times, but I was really impressed with how well the original Iron Man film held up. I love Tony Stark so much, and I forgot how he was in that first movie when he's not like completely with Pepper yet. I love them together, and their bickering with one another is so cute, but it was just really enjoyable overall. It's also pretty amazing to see all of the things that are like all of the seeds that were laid in earlier films before they got any of the recognition that they have nowadays. So like before anyone even knew that this was going to turn into like this huge universe that people would be completely obsessed with. It's just such a pleasure. So I loved Iron Man. Then we watched Incredible Hulk, which is a rougher watch. This was never one of my favorite Marvel films, which is funny because when I was younger, Edward Norton was like one of my favorite actors ever, and I saw the film at that point in time because of him, not because of Hulk, and I didn't love it, and upon rewatch, I still didn't love it. Oh, well, I'll mention that one at the end. Then we watched Iron Man 2, which it's another one that's definitely one of the weaker films within the MCU, but I still really enjoy it because I have such a strong connection to Iron Man, and it's also like the first time that we get to see Black Widow, and oh my gosh, all of the scenes with Coulson, I'm just like... Then we watched Captain America, the First Avenger, and this film again held up super well, and I was so surprised at the tiniest things that like just got me, like the littlest things made me cry while watching this, just because I really love these characters so much. I'm such a sucker for Steve and Peggy, like they belong together, and watching Captain America, the First Avenger made me want to really like go back and rewatch the Agent Carter series because I loved that show when it was on. I'm so sad that that got canceled, and I have like the highest of hopes that Disney Plus would bring it back because I believe they did have a plan for a third season, and that would just be amazing. And then we watched Avengers, which is still my favorite film within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm curious if anything will surpass it as we like keep watching and get to the end of things, because it's so hard to rank these. I feel like at the end of it, I will maybe do a video where I rank all of the Marvel Universe movies according to my taste. Not like the tier ranking thing that everyone does, but I think I'll just like go through them and tell you guys my least favorites to favorites and my reasoning behind them. And then not Marvel, but still Disney. We also watched Onward, which hit Disney Plus this month, and that was super enjoyable. That was a movie about brothers. It was clearly inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, and the voices are done by Chris Pratt and Tom Holland for the brothers, and I love both of them, so I assumed that I was gonna love this movie too, and I definitely did. It was really cute. It was really heartwarming. It's not a new favorite Pixar film, but I still loved it, and it definitely made me cry, and I really liked the boy's mom. I thought it had a lot of really cute moments. It was really good, really solid film. Then as far as TV goes, we watched seasons 5, 6, and 7 of Vampire Diaries. So I'm currently watching season 8 right now, not much longer to go, but man does the show go off the rails as you keep watching. I enjoyed season 1, then I really loved seasons like 2 through 5. Somewhere around maybe mid-season 5 or early season 6, things just got a little out there, to say the least. I'm still liking it. I'm still gonna like finish the series, but I'm definitely excited to watch the originals because I feel like that was probably my favorite storyline so far on the show. Yeah, that's been interesting. Then in the realm of anime, Andrew and I watched Is the Order a Rabbit season 1, which is super cute. It's a very moe series and it follows girls who work at a cafe together. It's super cute. There's only 2 male characters on the show and one of them is kind of a rabbit. He like doesn't look like a rabbit, but everyone refers to him as a rabbit, and he's actually one of the main character's grandfathers, which sounds strange, but it's also never explained. Like they just kind of throw it in there that, oh, apparently he used to be the owner of this cafe, but he suddenly is a rabbit. And initially we were like, oh, that's really interesting. Like I wonder how he turned into a rabbit. Never explained. That never comes up. It's just the girls living their lives. It's a slice of life anime, so it's really cute. It has like really sweet moments. It has, you know, a couple of girls that each fit very specific archetypes, but it's fun and it's just like light and cute, and I really liked it. I really like the character Chino because she actually reminds me of Kana from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. And then we watched an older anime, and that is Lovely Complex, and this was really funny and I really liked the animation. You can tell that it's an older anime while you're watching it. It follows a very tall girl and a very short boy, and they fall in love, but they have the most hate to love relationship ever. I will say that this anime does have its super problematic moments, but it was so funny and so enjoyable, and I really liked all of the like inner monologue and like imagined cutscenes based on like interactions. It was just so funny and I really enjoyed watching it. It's on Crunchyroll. So was Is the Order a Rabbit. That's where I watched both of those in case you're wondering. And Lovely Complex is only 1 season. I'm glad that I finally got to watch it. It's shoujo slice of life. I loved it. Then games. So just like everyone else, I am addicted to Animal Crossing. I checked Andrew's Switch before, like to look at my profile because I was like, oh, I should find out how many hours I've played this month. I was like, holy moly. I played over 160 hours of Animal Crossing, which is a lot. I'm really happy with the way that my house is coming along. I'm really liking my island. I'm still kind of in the process of trying to shift all of my residents' homes so that I like the placement and build little areas. I made like a little cute cafe, and I made like a forested area that I call the Feywilds, and I have a lot of like garden gnomes and cute like patterns and moonstones in there. And then I have a little like stargazing area and a rose garden and a diner area. It's so much fun. I really like it. I really like catching all of the butterflies. I really love Blathers. I really love his sister Celeste. I really love Isabel. So much fun. And Andrew and I actually made an Animal Crossing video that's on his YouTube channel, which is Team Silver Space, and that was a lot of fun too, so I'll link that down below in case you'd like to watch it. And Andrew and I also beat the Lion King game, which we got for Nintendo Switch. We beat it within a day, and by we I mean mostly Andrew, and I was watching. except for the beginning when I played some of the levels. But it was really fun until the end when it was really frustrating. And we actually filmed Let's Plays of that, so those will also be over on Andrew's channel on Team Silver Space. And then the last game that we've been playing, which is actually a board game, is Villainous, which is a Disney game. It is so much fun. I talked about this one in my fandom haul, but at that point we hadn't actually like played that much, and now we've been playing at least once a week, and we're trying to try every single character within the game. So this is the main game, and you can see on the back here, it's really fun because each character has different objectives. So just, oh, it's a good two-person game because obviously Andrew's the only human that I've seen in months. So while we're playing against each other, we're really kind of playing our own games and trying to reach our own goals, which are different from one another's. Andrew seems to pick better characters than I do. So far, my favorite character that I've played with is Hades, who is actually part of the Wicked to the Core expansion. We also have the Perfectly Wretched expansion. So we've got quite a bit of these, and then there's a third expansion as well, and that one is en route. So far my favorite character is Hades, but I also think I would have a better time playing Ursula if the card that I needed wasn't the second to last card in my deck. That was a very frustrating game. And then as far as favorites go for the month, I am not going anywhere. I'm here all the time. So there's nothing like outside new that I'm excited about. Clothes-wise, pretty much living in pajamas. But I did get this very cute Suit Sprite mug, which I got from Shop Azula. My friend Amy, who is Sailor Bookworm on Instagram, introduced me to this shop, and I have since purchased quite a bit from it. I think that her designs are super adorable. I'm really excited about this. I'm really hoping that she'll restock the Sailor Moon version of this, because I will buy that in a heartbeat. And then my other favorite is that you can order pints of Ben & Jerry's ice cream online and it will get delivered to your home. That has been one of my favorite discoveries of this. There was one day where I was just like, I wonder if I can get ice cream online because I really miss ice cream. So I ordered 8 pints of ice cream, 4 for me, 4 for Andrew, and we both have about half of a pint left at this point. We've been like slowly making our way through it. I think it's time for me to order more actually. And then my last favorite of the month, which is going to sound super cheesy, is Andrew, because I don't know what I would do without him. I'm so thankful that he is the one that I'm quarantined with because he is always making me laugh. He's so funny. I'm also just really thankful that I get to spend so much more time with him than I would when we would be, you know, working and commuting to work every single day. So that's just been a pleasure, and I've really been thankful that he's the one that I'm here with. And also actually in that vein, FaceTiming. We've been FaceTiming with family a lot, which has been nice. So in lieu of actually getting to see family in person, it is nice to get screen time with them at least. But that's about it. I'm expecting May will be another month that's kind of within the same vein. It doesn't sound like New York is really going to be opening anything anytime soon, seeing as how we were kind of like the peak area in the United States for everything going on. It's been crazy, but thankfully, I mean, Andrew and I are both healthy and home and safe, and that's really all that you can ask for. So on that note, that is my April wrap up. I would also really love to know if there's one thing that you can say has been like your favorite thing that has happened, or like the best thing that's happened to you during this quarantine period, just to like spread some positivity out there. But that's all that I have for this video, and I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!